Sometimes, the people who change your life the most are the ones you never even notice. Until one day, you realize it's too late to thank them. This is the story of a silent helper. Meet Sara. She works in a small, quiet library in a neighborhood most people barely notice. Sara isn't flashy. She doesn't post her achievements online or compete for recognition. To most people, she's just the quiet librarian. But every single day, Sara does small, unnoticed things that create massive ripples. She stays after hours to tutor struggling kids from the local school. She helps unemployed neighbors craft their resumes, giving them a shot at a new life. She leaves encouraging, handwritten notes for people she knows are going through a tough time. No one talks about Sara, no one claps for her. She doesn't even try to get noticed. And yet, her quiet kindness touches dozens of lives every single day. Then one day, the unimaginable happens. The library faces closure. The city announces there isn't enough funding. Budget cuts. The news lands with a thud, but most people just shrug. It's just a library, they say. We can read on our phones now. But Sara sees what they don't. She sees the kids she tutors, who will lose their only quiet place to learn and escape. She sees the elderly neighbors who rely on the library not just for books, but for connection, for a warm place to spend an afternoon. She sees the invisible threads that this humble building weaves through her community, holding it together. Sara knows she has to do something, but she's not the type to stand on a soapbox or lead a rally. The thought of being in the spotlight is her worst nightmare. So, she decides to fight her own way. Instead of making viral videos or seeking media attention, she begins her silent campaign. She writes heartfelt, anonymous letters to every member of the city council, explaining not just the library's value, but the human stories within its walls. She reaches out to former students, people she tutored years ago who have since found success, reminding them of where their journey started. She leaves simple, unsigned notes on community bulletin boards around town, asking one simple question: what does this library mean to you? At first, it feels like shouting into the void. The closure date looms closer. The letters go unanswered. The notes are taken down. Weeks pass and Sara starts to lose hope, sitting alone in the empty library after hours, staring at a pile of unsent letters. She begins to wonder, was it all pointless? Was her small, quiet effort simply too small to make a difference? Was it even worth trying? And then slowly, a flicker. A former student, now a successful author, hears the news and donates a huge stack of new books, along with a public letter about how the library saved him as a teen. Inspired by his action, a group of parents starts a volunteer drive to help organize events and clean up the building. Local businesses, seeing the renewed community spirit, step in and pledge support for funding. A wave of small actions, all sparked by Sara's quiet initial push, grows into a tidal wave of support. The city council, facing a surge of community passion they never expected, reconsiders. The library is saved. But here's the thing. No one knows Sara was behind it. Months later, the community holds a celebration to honor the miraculous saving of their library. It's a joyful event, filled with laughter and music. During the speeches, that same author, the former student Sara helped, steps up to the microphone. He says, "I'm here today because someone in this library believed in me when no one else did. They never asked for thanks. They never wanted any credit. But they changed my life." And in the back of the crowd, unseen, stands Sara. A quiet smile spreads across her face as she watches the very people she helped celebrate the community they built together. She never sought recognition, never asked for applause, but the ripple of her quiet actions has transformed an entire town. She fades back into the shelves, ready for another day of silent helping. Here's the truth. True impact doesn't need applause. The most meaningful acts in life, the ones that truly change the world, are often the ones done quietly, without recognition or reward. Think about it. Every kind word you offer someone who's struggling, every small act of patience with a frustrated coworker, every moment you spend encouraging a child, these actions can shape lives in ways you'll never fully see. They create ripples that travel farther than you could ever imagine. Sometimes, the greatest heroes are not the loud ones. They're not the ones on the biggest stages or with the most followers. They are the silent helpers. The people who simply choose to do the right thing day after day, because it's the right thing to do. They are the Saras of the world. And one day, their quiet, relentless, and beautiful actions may just change everything. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear it. And remember to look for the silent helpers in your own life. See you next time.